And we're back to Mackin and Miles. So, I was on Twitter this week and I saw a whole lot of cap. A whole lot of cap. So much cap you thought we were somewhere selling baseball hats. You know, it was so much. There was cap everywhere. Caps were on the left, caps were on the right. You know, the snapbacks, you know, the fitteds. There was just cap everywhere. Because some people were saying Kevin Hart was never funny. And I'm just like, okay, you're lying on the island if you're saying Kevin Hart was never funny. I am a Kevin Hart fan, so I may be biased here, but I found Kevin Hart funny since So Plain, since Scary Movie 3 days. You know what I mean? You know, when I was younger, I would write stories, and you know, like there weren't movies, but I always knew there would be movies, and I would literally cast people in these stories. And I remember casting Kevin Hart in this, in a few of the stories I had. So I know that I always seen Kevin Hart as the superstar that he is today. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like 2003. That's how far back I'm going. But I always thought Kevin Hart was funny. Kevin Hart's hilarious. That being said, his latest Netflix special, trash. You know, the last one before that, trash. You know, Kevin Hart. When it comes to his stand-up, I'm starting to notice a trend here. Like I enjoyed, you know, I'm a grown little man. You know, I enjoyed, you know, something funny. You know, all his earlier stuff I enjoyed. You know, but somewhere around, you know, Laugh Now, Cry Later, you know, I noticed there was a transition. Somewhere between Laugh in My Pain and Laugh Now, Cry Later, I noticed there was a transition going on. Kevin Hart Kevin Hart was still Kevin, but now he was becoming, you know, Hollywood superstar Kevin Hart. You know what I mean? So, a lot of stuff that I was finding relatable in his earlier stuff, I was no longer finding relatable. But the stuff was still funny. Like, granted, I never had kids, never been married. I never had, you know, anybody to bring me to Mekhi Phifer's house for a kid's birthday party, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like, you know, I know the life he lived, but something about those jokes were relatable. Compared to now, where his latest stand-up special, it felt like it was just an old rich guy complaining about things, you know what I mean? And I just wasn't entertained. You know, I chuckled here and there, a little laugh here and there, you know, but it was mostly when Kevin started doing the usual wailing and screaming, you know. Kevin does that well, you know, but I just wasn't that entertained with this latest one, you know what I mean? I enjoy Kevin Hart. I'm a big fan of Kevin Hart. He definitely would want to, like, when I was younger, I wanted to be a comedian, looking at guys like Eddie Murphy and guys like I was about to say Dave Chappelle. Well, Dave's included in this too, but guys like Kevin Hart, you know, put the battery in my back when I read his memoir. You know, like, I can't make this stuff up. You know, that put the battery in my back to want to even go back to doing stand-up comedy. But you know, I gotta be honest. That last stand-up special just didn't do it for me. You know, Zero Fucks Given is the name of it, and I have zero fucks to give for that special. Like, I was just not that entertained at all. And I was looking forward to it all day. Like, oh man, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna roll up, I'm gonna watch this Kevin Hart special. And it just didn't do it for me. It didn't do it. Does that mean Kevin's not funny? No, Kevin is a funny guy. Will I continue to see his movies? Yes, I will. Do I think this latest special he did was funny? No. And, you know, that's just my opinion. So, this week we finally got the Freshest Prince reunion. We've been hearing about the Freshest Prince reunion for I want to say a month or two now. Now, you know, it's crazy thing. It was supposed to air on HBO Max on Friday night, I believe. Was it Friday night? I believe it was Friday night. But they decided to release it a night earlier. Oh no, maybe it was Wednesday. I'm sorry, it was supposed to come out on Thursday night, but they decided to air it earlier on Wednesday. And I was like, is this because of Verzuz? Like, did they know, some of these black folks aren't going to be too busy watching Verzuz to be watching this Fresh Prince reunion on that night? So they want to make sure they got the full focus. I don't know. But I definitely was one of the people that was excited because I was like, cool, now I ain't got to try to tune into both at the same night. You know, so I wasn't left out the next day where everybody was having conversations about it. And man, oh man, when I say that reunion, man, Will Smith posted on his Instagram that he was sorry that he didn't, warn people to bring, tissues and, just be, he was sorry to not to prepare people for how emotional it is. And I gotta say, man, that was emotional. If you grew up on the show, if you're a fan of the show, there's no way you don't get a teary eye at one point of the series. This reunion was like, it's not a scripted reunion, it's not scripted. It's the cast coming together, and it feels like a family reunion. Reliving the memories of with family, and at moments, we paying tribute and homage to the family that we have lost, and then we reconnect with the family that we no longer keep in touch with, and then we heal through what was the disconnect of what happened to us before, and finally the family's coming back together and just finally accepting. It's like, all right, guys, we were able to get past the past. You know what I mean? Like, it felt good to see. The Banks family is our family. We grew up watching them before there was a social media, before there was smartphones to get distract us. When we had only one thing to do, when it was just like watch TV and pay attention, it was the Fresh Prince. So this week was the Verzuz between Gucci Mane and Jeezy. Now originally it was supposed to be Jeezy versus T.I. That was the original Verzuz that was promoted. But then the whole world stood up and was like, nah. If you want to do this, do it right. When it comes to Atlanta, it needs to be Jeezy versus Gucci Mane. And I didn't even know why it was that important. I did hear growing up some Gucci Mane tracks. I did hear Jeezy tracks. But I didn't know really the beef between the two. So I did some research, and then I found out that Jeezy sent somebody to go after Gucci Mane, and Gucci Mane killed that guy, and it's more than hip hop. This beef, you know what I mean? And I was wondering whether it was all for show, all this beef that they were talking on social media, whether this was going to be a real deal or not. So I'm like, let me tune in. Hopefully they got security, and I don't have to witness anybody getting shot. And it was a crazy night. There was definitely a lot of hostility in the air. Gucci Mane never sat down once during the whole thing. Jeezy seemed like he was trying to be humble, but Gucci wanted to make sure he reminded this man what he tried to do. They went diss songs back and forth. They definitely, I felt like there was some disrespect in the air, but at the end, they definitely came together to perform So Icy. So I was just like, okay, was this all for show, or, is this just business? Maybe it's just business, Who knows? So, I went to the movies recently. I've been trying to go back to the movies and try to get my routine back of spending time with the movies. And it's not the same. Nobody's at the movies no more. The movies is practically empty. I mean, don't get me wrong. People are pulling up to the movies. But the environment is not the same no more. It just feels so much quieter and just feels so much emptier. It's not the same vibe. It's sad. I feel sad when I go to the movies now. It just feels so cold and empty. But I went to go see the new True to the Game 2 movie. If Tarek McMillan wrote the original True to the Game book series, these films are based off of it. I didn't see the first film in theaters. I saw it on BET or one of these black-owned channels, or black channels, I'll say, because it may not be black-owned. But I watched it. It's your generic drug gangster romance movie. But at the same time, it's like it's entertaining to watch because of who's in it. Especially with this one, there was you got Vivica A. Fox, you got Lil Ma, you got the what's that dude? The guy who went famous for his mugshot because he got pretty or whatever. So I came back based off of that. I don't want to give no spoilers who else showed up in the movie. But if you like the original one, I feel like you would like the new True to the Game movie, the sequel. It does continue where the last book and last movie ended off. And after this movie ended, I went to go hear the third book on Audible just to see where the story continues. Because I was just like, okay, there's no way you could just leave me at this cliffhanger like this. And speaking of Terry McMillan books, there's another one, Dutch. One of her other books was produced to a film by the same producer that's dropping this month as well. So I guess I'll be going back for a double feature this holiday weekend. So I'll keep you updated on that, let you guys know what I thought about that film when I see it. So I just been put on to a new social network platform, a new social network app, and it's called Clubhouse. Now, Clubhouse doesn't work like every other platform that we are right now. It doesn't work like the old MySpace days or Skonex or nothing like that. It doesn't work like Facebook, or Twitter. There's no pictures to post. There's no videos, no real links. The Clubhouse is just a bunch of people in a room talking. That is it. And I find that very interesting compared to other apps where you have to filter yourself through your content, your audio, your video, your pictures. You do all the editing to create a specific image. Where this one is literally just your voice. You sign in. Depending on who you follow, you see different chat rooms. And each chat room has different conversations going on. You can go in and listen, or you can actually wave your hand and join and talk. Now, for networking purposes, I feel like this is great. I've been looking through these rooms. There's rooms that's literally just based around, like, creators, like, black film producers. There's rooms where it's just musicians, and musicians are just, are planning, like, hey, guys, let's work together. Let's try to make a super group. Late night talks with artists, engineers, and producers and songwriters. You know what I mean? There's a wake and bake club. Late night creative photographers. You know what I mean? It's interesting. But then you got some other rooms that just I can tell you now it's different. The AO versus your rooms. The how to well, let's say the emoji for this is a tongue and an eggplant. It's Clubhouse After Dark. You know what I mean? I literally found one room where it was just moaning. The whole room was just moans. Like, you go in and you just hearing people moaning, and I'm like, okay, what's going on with that? This morning I went to the Sunday service morning affirmation goals and celebration room. You know what I mean? So it's like it's interesting. Now granted, not everybody could join. You could download the app now and get in the wait list. I was lucky and fortunate enough to have a friend that was able to invite me to the platform, after I joined the wait list. And, because right now it's in the beta stage, so now they're just letting certain people get in. And right now, I'm seeing a couple celebrities in there, a couple actual names that you may recognize in there. They actually here spitting game and, giving jewels. I heard the other day, Tory Lanez was in one of these rooms, and they was cussing this man out, just tearing him left to right. And he was in there like, I know, I'm sorry, I still love y'all. Like, whoa. But, it's interesting how this platform works and where it's going. I already see that Twitter is trying to mimic it and do something similar. That they already went ahead and grabbed Instagram stories and put it on their platform. It's crazy how, before Instagram, it was Snapchat. It was a Snapchat choice. It's just interesting how social media has grown and where it's going. It really is. And that was this episode of Mackin with Miles. I'll see you guys same time, same place next week. Much love, God bless, 2 pieces of chicken grease. I'll see you later.